Well, hello everyone, and welcome to Hogarth's Global Astrology. Know your planets, know yourself, or know your nation, know yourself. That is interchangeable. Well, welcome everyone. So it is, what is the day? Today it is Wednesday, the 6th of September 2023, and it is 23:02 my time. So it is, what's that? 2 minutes past 11. You'll notice I'm a bit shiny today. I've been able to kind of catch the sun, have a little bit of kind of sunbathing and whatnot. Oh gosh, I've just remembered something. I was supposed to print off some of the I was supposed to print off some of the questions that you guys had. I'm wondering how am I going to do that? How am I going to do that? 1 minute. I'm going to be here. Let me just, I'm going to click up on another thing. Hopefully you can still see me. I'm going to go on YouTube and hopefully it's not going to do a sound, you know what, thing. Maybe if I actually put, oh gosh, how am I going to do this? How am I going to do this? God, now it's asking me to sign in. Typical. Just wanted to make sure that I get, typical, isn't it? I now have to verify everything. So if you're coming in, guys, welcome. 1 minute. That. And I was just talking with a friend. We're having a proper, a real deep catch up. And then I was seeing the time, already prepared the show. Let's go here. And I just want to print off those questions that you guys had. Forgive me for not having that ready. I normally have it, all of that's ready in advance. I've just remembered. So the show is prepared here. This is it here on both sides, but I just wanted those extra questions. So let's go to the community tab. Just here, and then let's go into, oh crikey, 43 questions here. Oh gosh, there's quite a lot of here. So let's see here, and I'm just going to copy. Oops, 1 second. Let's do a copy and paste. Let's make sure. I'm just going to highlight all of this, and then just do this here. Perdonami. And then let's get this here, and let's do print. Just get all this stuff ready for you guys. I should have done it. I could have actually shared the screen here, actually. maybe I'll do that. It's loading the preview. How many pages? All right, that's 3 pages. That's fine. Let's just print that. And then you might hear some clinky clunky in the background. Oh God, is it going to do it? I hope it is. Let me just see, is it actually going to do that? I'm getting the hamster wheel. Anyway, while that's happening, what's happening here? Come on. All right, I can hear the printer going. You might be able to hear it in the background, yeah. And then here we are. Move the fan. Can you hear that? All right. And then I'm going to have to flip over one of the pages at one point. Do that. Should have done this sooner. Anyway, can you hear me, everyone? So sorry about that. So what we're going to talk about today, actually, let me just do that now. Why did I not get this done before? I was just so busy chatting away to my friend. Ah, dear. Let's go back into that tab. Let's minimize that down. Where is there we are. So at least then I've got the other page, and then come back up, out here, go back, close that down. Right, so we are going to be talking about what? Today we're going to be talking about the USA chart. There we are. That's all done now. So at least I've now got your questions printed off and all of that kind of stuff. Now, why are we having this conversation? As you know, many of you, of course, will be watching, you know, the other astrologers talk about all the various different things that are going on. So, of course, we know that there are some really important factors going on in the USA chart right now and in the global economy. So we're going to look a bit at the USA chart. Let me just turn this here so you can see it. Here it is here. And maybe I'll move a bit down this side. And I'll move that here. And I can also do the share screen option as well. And I think the reason why it's important to have this conversation now is because there is so much going on. So much going on. Humanity, we're on the cusp of really big and quite profound changes. You may have heard the saying of like the future is now, and it really is now. So do you remember I've been talking about these retrogrades? Yeah, all these planets that are retrograde and stuff like that. So who do we currently have retrograde in the sky? And here I'll do this actually on the chart. I've got my planet tabs here, my little glyphs. So here's Pluto. So here's Pluto. I'm going to swap it out for this one. This one's nicer. So Pluto is currently retrograde, yeah? And hovering is basically returned to itself. Do you remember we've all been talking about Pluto return? So if I bring the camera closer, yeah, here you can see Pluto, yeah? So Pluto has basically come back to his original place, but it becomes exact towards the end of this year and sort of like early 2024. So bear that in mind. Yeah, bear that in mind. At the moment, we currently have Mars. Mars is in sidereal Virgo. Yeah, he's in sidereal Virgo. And there's a very, let me just put it this way. There's a very important configuration coming up on the 24th of September. Some of the other Vedic astrologers have talked about this as well, but we'll go into that detail. So Mars is there. And do you remember I said when Mars entered sidereal Virgo, which he did on the 18th of August, I said things will be in the news about what? Health, healing, overcoming obstacles, disease and stuff like that. What have we seen in Florida? That apparently they've announced dengue fever, malaria, and leprosy, which started to happen soon after, come into the news soon after those dates. And of course, we're seeing what? A new COVID variant, and quite a lot of people getting that. And I was also told, if you guys can verify in the comments, I was told as well that, or I saw somewhere that Jill Biden apparently has got COVID. Is that correct? If you can let me know in the comments. So all of that started to come true already. Mercury is currently retrograde at the moment. I think he's still in Leo, if I remember correctly. Venus is now stationary direct, and I think she was in Cancer. I'll share my screen just to be on the safe side. Uranus, planet of sudden shocks and surprises, he's now retrograde. Saturn here is retrograde. Jupiter is also retrograde. The nodes of the moon are always retrograde. So Rahu is over here at 0 degrees now or thereabouts of sidereal Aries, which is the Gandanta point, which can mean drowning, issues with floods, storms. Look what we've been seeing around the world. Have you guys seen Spain? Oh my God, dreadful, dreadful. Dreadful flooding there. K2 is down here in sidereal Libra. We've got Neptune up here in sidereal Pisces. Actually, it's more down here. We've got Chiron is also there as well, the wounded healer. And so actually in America, you guys are also having a Chiron return as well, which happens every 50 years. I think Ceres is over here somewhere. And the sun, should still be, what are we? We're at near the end of September. No, we're at September 6th. What am I talking about? The sun should still be in sidereal Leo. I'll double check these things. I literally had to do that off the top of my head because I wasn't quite prepared. Let's see who is in the house. So who do we have here? So we've got so Annie Hamlet. Thanks for joining me. All questions here. Will the Republicans succeed in impeaching the democratic justice? It seems as they are now operating state level. Wow. We'll have to see. I'll pull some cards because they're up to all sorts. Let's see. Teresa is saying hello from Ohio. And we've got, here we are, Christy Tobin, and many more of you. Okay. What my aim to do is tonight is to describe why everything is so intense, why it's so cray-cray. You've already heard me discussing certain things, but it's really, really important to kind of discuss why, what is going on. America is essentially going through 4 things, actually, now when I think of Chiron, 4 things concurrently. So there is the Chiron return, which is happening in the USA chart. And this happens once every 50 years. And actually, I don't think I've spoken about it before. But what's Chiron? The wounded healer. Yeah. So it means when a planet returns, it's like a reevaluation and an assessment of how much work and progress has been made in that time it's taken to return to itself. Now, if we remember the story of Chiron, which was the centaur, which is also one of the symbols of Sagittarius. Now, Chiron was an extraordinary healer, and he was taught by Apollo, according to the ancients, taught by Apollo everything, astrology, herbalism, medicine, everything. He was so good that his fame extended to even the gods, and they actually made him immortal. Yeah, it made him immortal for the reward of his services. That's how great he became. But then there was an accident that happened where Hercules, or Heracles, as the ancient Greeks called him, accidentally shot him with an arrow in the heel, in his hoof. But that arrow had been dipped in the poison of the Hydra. And this was one of the worst poisons that you could ever have in the whole world. So he was in agony. He was absolutely in agony, and his foot was festering and everything like that. But because he was immortal, he couldn't die. So he walked around with this limp, and then he became even more compassionate and wanting to look after the downtrodden, etc. So if America is having its Chiron return, a lot of muck and a lot of gunk and poison is what? Coming up and out, just in the way like how Chiron was shot in his hoof by the poison of the Hydra, which was one of the terrible beasts, you know. If we think about all this stuff, draining the swamp and all of this kind of stuff, there's been so much swampy action around, hasn't there, of late? So there's that. So it means that everything has to be reassessed, recalibrated, reevaluated, yeah, especially with all these retrogrades. So there's that. The other thing, of course, one of the big obvious ones is that this is also America's Pluto return. Now, it takes Pluto between 244 to 248 years to make one revolution around the sun. We've all heard of the Saturn returns, yeah, which it happens to us every kind of 29 years. And that's always a big reevaluation. For me, the Pluto return in a nation is kind of like the collective Saturn return for that nation. And America, give or take a year or two and some loose change, is about what, 250 years old, there or thereabouts. So it's slap bang in that window. So just like with Chiron, where it's going to be looking at bringing up things that need to be cleared and healed, Pluto, of course, is dredging everything up from the underbelly, from the darkness, so that we have to what? Face it. Yeah. Because we know, as we know, I call a certain someone Duck L'Orange, yeah. Linda G calls him Bone Spurs. And as we know, Lena calls him the Yeti, yeah. But we know we're talking about Donald Trump. We have all these names for him. But one of my other names for him that I need to use more is Black Mirror, yeah. He is like a dark he's like a reflection of some of the darkest impulses in the United States. Now, we all have this. We all have shadow. We all have leaders that do not perform so well. And listen, I'm going to be the first, because we're going to be talking a bit about the UK as well. Look at the douchebaggery that we've had. We've got some dreadful, I mean, Boris. Now we've got, you know, Liz Truss. Oh, shocking. She lasted 44 days and she still got her pension, by the way. You know, practically tanked the economy, you know. So this isn't just about America and all the woes there. It's happening everywhere. But for you guys, it's more pronounced because you've got several things going on at once. So we've got the Chiron return, we've got the Pluto return, you know, once every 250 years, or, you know, 244 years or so. What you guys also have is something called Sadi Sati. Yeah, Sadi Sati. Now, what does this mean? It means when Saturn, here's Saturn over here, the blue planet, yeah, it gives us what? The blues. Now, Sadi Sati happens when Saturn is one sign from the moon, with the moon, and one sign after. This is the natal position. So if you look here in the USA chart, there you can see the moon, which is in sidereal Aquarius, and it's at 7 degrees 26 minutes. So it's basically at 7 degrees. A few years ago, well, basically pretty much with the onset, believe it or not, of COVID, basically, you know, the lockdowns and stuff, that happened, of course, in, what is it, March, pretty much for most of the Western world, March 2020. In January, at the end of January 2020, Saturn entered sidereal Capricorn, yeah? And that was when America's Sadi Sati officially started. Doesn't that make sense? Yeah. So Saturn and the moon aren't friends. So Saturn puts pressure on the moon. It can stress. It can be a very stressful experience. The moon also deals with the public. What happened? All went into lockdown. Yeah. Saturn spends 2.5/3 years in each sign. So of course it's been about what, 3 years, you know, 3 years and or thereabouts and loose change. Saturn has now moved into sidereal Aquarius. And he moved in on the 17th of January, 2023. And you remember, this is when I was talking about all the accountability would start to happen. You've heard me say ad nauseum. I said even Duck Larange, I said even Trump, everyone, all sorts. There'll be things to do with the sky, technology, governments passing new rules and regulations. What do we have? We had the Chinese spy balloon. We basically had the government confess to aliens, but we're so wrapped up in the cray of what's going on right now. That was just like almost like bounced off like water, like off a duck's back. And we're in all of this big phase and change. So at the moment, Saturn is now with the moon and he's going retrograde. And he's going to sit at around about 7 to 8 degrees, yeah, for I think it's about a month or so at least, on the USA charts moon. You guys moon, yeah, if you guys in the States, if you're watching. So that's what extraordinary pressure, puts so much pressure on everything. But there's a last factor, which I've not spoken about before, which is the Dasha sequence, the Vim Satori Mahadasha sequence. So the best way to describe it is like this. As in the charts of people and also in countries, there are certain time periods where certain planets have a dominant influence over that person's life or that country. And the way I describe it is, it's like the soul being put in the back seat of a certain planet's car. And then you're driven along for a certain amount of time. Now there is a long duration but along that journey, shall we say, the drivers change. You're still in the back seat of that car, but the drivers change and they begin to drive that car in its own style, or a different planet drives the original car in its own style. Yeah. And this is a repeating sequence. So to give you an example, the shortest one is the time period of the sun, which is 6 years. The longest one is the time period of Venus, which is 20 years. So when you're going through your Venus Dasha, you're going to be in the back seat of Venus's car for 20 years. But the drivers will change along the way, driving slightly in their own style, given the variations. So one looks at the driver, the car, and the driver of the car, and which houses they rule, etc. But they all drive in their own styles. Now we need to talk about Rahu. Rahu, who is the north node of the moon and considered the manifest point of destiny for everyone and everything on planet Earth. Now, my analogy for Rahu is that he's like a rally car driver. You know those crazy races that you guys have in the States where you got the cars with the flames going up the side and they crash into each other and they've got the fences going up because they go around so much and they, you know, and it's like bedlam. Yeah. I think it's called rally car or something like that. You know what I'm talking about. Anyway, it's cray cray, isn't it? It's entertaining, but it's wild. Rahu drives like that. That's the kind of car that he has. And America has entered its Rahu Dasha. And guess when it happened? Happened around 2016. Think about that. 2016 was when that Rahu Dasha really began to kick in. I need to find the detailed map thing, but I'm almost certain it was 2016. The Rahu period is known. Many of my clients that come to me because they've got issues or whatever, or they're moving house, which is another one. So many times they're either going through the Saturn Dasha or the Rahu Dasha. It'd be Saturn, Rahu, or Ketu. It's the other ones as well, but those are the main ones. For those that are going through really intense experiences, it's normally the Rahu Dasha that they're going through. So America is going through that now. Now, the good news is that at some point, this Dasha will be over. Yeah. And it's not always intense all the way through because remember I said the drivers change. Yeah. When the Dasha starts, it's that planet that's driving its car. However, it is a long Dasha. Yeah, it's a long one. Rahu's Dasha lasts for 18 years. Now, it doesn't mean it's going to be cray-cray and complete bedlam and stuff like that for 18 years. No, not necessarily. But it means there's going to be intensity. Many, 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 many changes. Rahu brings the most changes out of almost all of the grahas, of the planets. Yeah. Remember, Rahu and Ketu have the dignity of half planet. They're smoky. They don't have physical bodies, but they cause the eclipses. The eclipse points and the movements of Saturn pretty much tells you everything that's going on in a country or a person's life. So it's intense energy. It moves about a lot. It's wild. Rahu deals with the exotic, the new, brand new things. He also deals with technology as well, innovations of all kinds. But guess what? He also deals with poisons, liars, and cheats. Yeah. Now, if many of you, well, maybe some of you might have opted out of it, but how many of you actually watched the first GOP debate? Yeah, the Republican debate. Wow. Yeah, that had Rahu written all over it. These outlandish characters. The Rahu Dasha can bring almost anything. Yeah, if you think of Duck Larange, wow, he is such a Rahu type character. Loud, flamboyant, over the top. Lying is like breathing. You know, I mean, there are good sides to Rahu as well. Like I said, the innovation, the exotic, the new. If it wasn't for Rahu, we wouldn't be here. Rahu is actually what brings us back. He's the karma that brings us back. But he wants us, he likes to keep us coming back to the earth. So he's always testing us to see if we make mistakes. Rahu and Ketu are otherworldly. We can actually transcend with their energy. But we have to transcend the traps of Maya and illusion. Ketu sees through all the illusion. That's why I call him Snip Snip. Rahu loves the illusion and keeps coming back for more. Rahu also deals with the shadow side of politics. So when we put all of those factors together, is it any wonder that things are so intense at the moment? in the USA chart. So let me know your thoughts on that in the comments as I read through and see who else is here. So Dallas, so Tennessee here. Hello, everyone. Saying hello, everyone. Hello, Hoagie and crew and wonderful peeps. Patricia's in the house as well, saying hello to everyone. Arkansas is covered. That's great to know that, Nerva. So let me know your thoughts on that. Let me just see what else, because some of you may be asking questions and stuff. Ah, Tatty Gem. Thank you so much for your donation. What have you written here? Greetings, Hogarth. I'm amazed at your generosity of your time. I know this is your livelihood, and you do these recordings for free. That blows my mind. Please accept this donation to help with your overheads. Blessing. Oh, thank you, Tatty Gem. That is so sweet. That's very kind. And also as well, I really appreciate the donations as well that people give on the shows, my shows and the other shows. It really does help. So if you want to help, of course, please feel free. And don't forget as well, of course, to like and subscribe and press the bell notification if you're finding this interesting. So thank you so much, Tatty Gem. I really appreciate that. So what are your thoughts on what I've said so far? We're going to get into some other kind of stuff. I'm going to give you some global news updates. Oh my goodness, there's another one here from Tribal Woman. Thank you. That's so kind. Love your channel. Thank you so. Oh, that is so sweet. Oh my goodness, and I've got a new member as well. Ah, thank you. Thanks so much. It's been confirmed. Patricia, thank you. Yes, Jill Biden has COVID. Bless her. Well, I hope she makes a speedy recovery. I've just found out from a friend of a friend that he's got COVID as well. Really bad, really bad. Had all his jabs and all of that kind of stuff, And he's apparently like my good friend who I was talking to on the phone beforehand. He said he saw his friend recently and said he was really ill. Really really sad. Yes, so yeah, Wiki's saying yes, the first lady tested positive for COVID, and they're saying she had it again, but it was a mild case. Okay, that's good. Let's see here. Right, I'm going to give you some updates. And I'm going to tell you some stuff about the UK. Now, as you know, I said, if you look back in my Saturn, I think it's my Saturn accountability video. I'll probably have to put it in the description. And I said lots of stuff will change, rules, regulations, all of this kind of stuff. And I said when the planets are going retrograde, it means what? Review, revise, reassess. Things from the past come back. Yeah, so we're seeing a bit of, not that it's ever really kind of properly left, but COVID is starting to come back. Other stuff is starting to come back. Reviewing, revising, reassessing everything. Jupiter, Saturn, Mercury, and Venus are all planets of finance, business, and economy. Jupiter's just gone retrograde yesterday. Venus is standing still, like I said, pretty much. And I said there'll be developments with the banks. Do you remember me talking about this? Right. So I'm going to give you some updates. I'm going to give you the skinny of some things that have happened in the UK. Let me just put a line through this because I've talked about Jill Biden, so got that done. Right. In the UK, now remember I was talking about finances, economy, stuff like that. In the UK, I think it was yesterday, Birmingham. So there is a city in the UK called Birmingham. Many of you may know it already. And it's considered the second largest city in England. Yeah. And it has just declared that it's gone bankrupt. Yeah. So here it says Birmingham. So I wrote here, Birmingham UK declares bankruptcy, a section 114 notice, which means they can only pay for essential things. One of the largest jurisdictions in Europe, it turns out, as well. And it's got over 1 million residents. So only essential services and spending is allowed because they've got a 750 million lawsuit to settle over equal pay, because they've not been paying equal pay to women for so many years. They lost the case, and now it's come back. They've got to pay this money, and they've become bankrupt. Oh my goodness! So that's certainly what a review, a revise, a reset in many ways. So there's that. So that's on the UK. We've also as well got huge issues just now. This happened only a few days ago, just before schools were due to go back. In the UK, we've got huge issues with our, remember I was talking about real estate as well, infrastructure. Turns out there's dodgy concrete in the schools that could collapse. The ceilings could collapse in some of the schools. So most of them are open, but a few hundred of them have had to be closed because they need to have the roof checked to make sure that the roofs don't collapse on the children. So you can imagine we've got all of this stuff on top of Brexit and, you know, and what have you. I also saw, and I spoke about COVID and I spoke about Florida with the, you know, because they've got the, what is it, malaria, dengue fever, leprosy, apparently they've got there, and some other bits and bobs and loose change. And again, that started to happen when Mars, moved into sidereal Virgo. But what I want to give you a real scoop on here, do you remember I said there'll be changes in the economy and in finances? Yeah, because Saturn, Mercury and Venus, planets of finance, and Jupiter also deals with what? Money and economy. Listen to this. So this has just come out either today or yesterday, and I've put a link in the description to another YouTuber who explains it better. And in fact, I might have to rummage around for some more clips and add them in the description because there's lots going on. Anyway, have you guys heard of CBDCs? CBDCs, they stand for central bank digital currencies. Yeah, big thing. Now this is happening. Yeah, this is happening. It's being trialed all around the world in different places. And essentially the concept is that the government of a nation will issue their own effective digital currency. So imagine something similar to a Bitcoin, but it will be a replica of like the dollar or the pound, as in the cases here for the UK. Now, this is being trialed all around the world. This isn't conspiracy theory stuff, anything like that. You guys just look it up, Google it, literally Google it. Central bank digital currencies, all of that stuff, huge amounts, and there's lots on YouTube as well. So I really recommend to people to educate themselves and look at this, because this is the future. And remember I said before, when Uranus, which also deals with electricity, innovation, new things, cutting edge technologies, sudden shocks and surprises, when Uranus goes into sidereal Taurus, which it will do on the, if I remember correctly, the 2nd of June 2024. Now, when I previously spoke about this, I made a mistake. I said 2025. It's actually sooner than I thought. So June, basically June 2024, Uranus, which is currently in retrograde in sidereal Aries, will eventually enter sidereal Taurus. Now, what's Taurus all about? Money, assets, finances, tangible goods. So what does that mean? When Uranus goes in there, it means all of that might be what? Digitized. Starting to happen already. What it is, Aries is about pioneering. This is where the new stuff happens. This is the Petri dish. Aries is the Petri dish. But Taurus is often about the implementation, because it literally, Taurus deals with food, commodities, values, education, money, tangible assets of all kinds. So if Uranus, the planet of technology, goes in there where he'll stay for about 7 years, what's going to happen globally? Things are going to become more digitized, which is happening already. But you see here, this will also be a Uranus return for the United States as well, because Uranus sits in sidereal Taurus in United States charts. So do you see all of these returns? Pluto returns, Sadi Sati, Chiron returns, Rahu Dasha, and then next year, Uranus. Yeah. So it's happening now, but what we'll see is, and what I predicted from years ago, I said when Uranus makes that transition into sidereal Taurus, remember in Western astrology, they're 24 degrees ahead. So they're saying he's there already. But when his body actually moves there, that's when, and you see, it's already happening. So let me go back to my central thing. This is happening in the UK, but also America, but we'll talk about the UK first. So central bank digital currencies. So there'll be a digital pound, yeah? So, and it'll be run by the government. So what will happen is, in the future, what they want to do is they want to set up a system where you as a citizen deal with your money, taxes and finances directly with the government, but not necessarily the banks. So run by government, and it will cut out the middleman, which is the commercial banks. And I've written here, oops. So commercial banks, seeing the threat of this, they're kind of fighting back with something which is called a regulated liability network. So this is where they, in a way, kind of still get to be the middleman, because think about it, think of things like mortgages, loans, etc., and all that kind of stuff, you know. Anyway, so they're called RLNs, or regulated liability networks. So the UK is in the discovery phase of this, allegedly. And there was a meeting between the UK Treasury Committee and the Bank of England, and they published some notes. I'll try and track down those notes for you. I had to rely on the YouTuber that was sharing this, but they have a finance specific channel. But this is a thing, so I'll have to add it post video. Yeah, let me just put here, find the notes of meeting. I think they're public. Yeah, anyway, so they met up and they met about launching these CBDCs, digital issued government currency. And what this YouTuber also revealed, now this was something that was a concern, but a lot of people were like, nah, they ain't going to do it, but they are. There is a very, very good chance, well, in fact, this is what was described in the notes, allegedly, that these CBDCs will also be programmable. Yeah, get that into your head. Programmable money. Remember what I was talking about? Uranus, sudden shocks and surprises, also the planet of innovation and technology, just like how Rahu is. Mercury does the same as well. Even Saturn has a bit of that too. But this is really that, because what it is, Uranus is that cutting edge of tech. We all have Uranus somewhere, and it's always something surprising, something unexpected. Yeah. A lot of people don't know this. Many of you may even be hearing this for the first time, but it is true. It is not conspiracy theory. You know, I don't deal in that stuff. You can see my consistency now over the years of what I've predicted and what has come to pass. So all of this stuff that I'm talking about, digital currency, this is real. This is happening. It's not an illusion. And I know some people might find it uncomfortable and stuff, but this is happening. It's happening. Yeah, we're going to see it in the next, you know, a few weeks and months, and certainly 2024, without a doubt. 2025, it's just going to be, you know, pretty much the bog standard, depending on which countries participate. But this is real, folks. Yeah, this is real. So I'll get you the notes on that. So forgive me for not having that particular thing, but if you go in the description, you'll see a link to the video. Anyway, but it'll be programmable. So think of what that means. That means potentially they can set time limits on currency. So they can be like, well, you need to spend this money that we've given you on this, this, and this, and you've got 3 months maybe to spend that money, or 6 months. It'd be like a coupon. You know, when you get the coupons from the supermarket, and you can get a discount on your food or whatever if you spend a certain amount or whatever, but the coupon doesn't last forever, does it? There's a time limit on it. So imagine when money has a time limit. Think how that could work. Yeah, that means they could limit savings, etc. I will leave it to your imagination of what that could mean. Yeah, and there's also elements as well where there will be an element of social score as well. Again, you might be saying, oh God, please, that's what those tinfoil hatters say and stuff like that. Sadly, that's starting to come true. Yeah, because if the money's programmable, you can attach it to lots of different things. And remember, I already said, do you remember I said governments will come out with new rules and regulations that a lot of people may not necessarily like. Let's not forget the WHO wants to issue what? A global digital health pass. Remember, I announced that a few months ago now. Yeah, all of these things coming to pass. Saturn in sidereal Aquarius. Aquarius is co-ruled by Uranus and Rahu. It's a very innovative sign. It deals with a lot of cutting edge technology, outer space, aliens, new and surprising and sometimes shocking stuff. Saturn, the ruler of Aquarius, is right there, and that's also where the USA's moon is. So this is going to affect what? All of America as well, and the wider world, because you guys have a very big and powerful and impactful economy. Yeah, it's got a bit too much debt. Yeah, 13 trillion and loose change, and then the unsecured is like 200 and whatever. But I've already spoken about that. But do you see where this is going? I know it might be a bit disconcerting, and everyone's like, "Oh, Hoagie, why are you telling us this?" But it's to prepare you. And I've also got some solutions as well. But this is to prepare you on giving you the heads up of what's coming down the track. If you look back at the accountability video, everything I've said in that video has pretty much come true. Look at Mars. When I was talking about Mars, I said when it enters sidereal Virgo, there'll be issues to do with disease and stuff like that. Yeah. Now now Jill Biden's got bloody COVID and everyone else, my friends, and anyway, I don't want to bang on too much, and there are solutions. So hold on, let me give you a little bit more spiel on this, and then let me know what you think in the comments as well. I'll have a scroll down. Okay, so they're also going to be talking about digital wallets. Yeah, so this money would be kept on digital wallets. I mean, do we need any more digital wallets? We've already got this stuff already. Yeah, we've already got our Amazon wallet, this wallet, Apple wallet, thingy-bob wallets. It's just wallets absolutely everywhere. Yeah, everything can be stored on the phone. Anyway, but that's what for these central bank digital currencies, or it might be central digital bank currency. I may have got that the wrong way around. It doesn't matter. It's those words. And one of the things that they're saying in the notes that this will only work if it's used by all. Now we're talking about the UK here. Back to the digital pound. Of course they're going to say that, yeah, because they're frustrated that some people still use cash. Now, even though I hardly use cash, I still believe in it. I'm sure many of you do, because you know what? Particularly in the States as well, where you have to tip for everything. When it comes to tips, showing appreciation, birthday gifts. Not everyone has a smartphone. Not everyone has a bank account in that formal sense. Not everyone wants a bank account in that formal sense. Cash is still very useful. If you're a small mum and pop business, or if you have a pop-up stand or a food stand, and you don't have a card reader, you may still have a box of cash and stuff like that. Cash is still very important, particularly for the more mature generation as well. So should they completely get rid of cash? No, I don't think they should. I think they should always be. But of course they want to, yeah. Anyway, so in some way they might try and kind of force it. Yeah, they might try it in a gentle way or a harsh way, but let's just see how it goes. Well, there's 390 of you now. The USA is also doing this, yeah? Of course it is, yeah? All of that energy, yeah? Planets retrograde, digital money, finance, all of this stuff. So this is, but again, I've got most of this spiel from the guy that did the video. But then I'll find out more stuff as well, because there's certain people I watch who this is their full-time profession. They look at specifically at this stuff, and you get the scoop on things before it hits the mainstream news. Anyway. So this is interesting. So the Federal Reserve Innovation Center, actually it's the New York Federal Reserve Innovation Center, allegedly, together with Citibank. So we're talking about the USA now. Citibank, Wells Fargo, HSBC, and 7 other major USA banks have joined their own version of the regulated liability network. So they're trying to push back. So we have a very interesting situation where you've got citizens who have things like cryptocurrency, or private citizens or companies that have crypto. We're going to be having central bank digital currencies, and then commercial banks will be doing their own kind of accounts and checks and balances to try and maintain being the middleman of all of those things. We have some banks that will allow you to trade and swap out for Bitcoin and stuff like that, and then other banks that won't allow that as well. Do you see how complicated this is all becoming? Yeah, that's why I say this. We live in extraordinary times, folks. Extraordinary times. So those banks that I mentioned. So again, the New York Federal Reserve Innovation Center allegedly is working with Citibank, Wells Fargo, HSBC, and 7 other major USA banks to try and mitigate some of what is going on. Let's just see. I've mentioned that. Something else that I need to tell you about before we talk about some solutions is tokenization. You guys familiar with this? Tokenization. I'll find some video clips from YouTube that I've watched already that I can recommend, and I'll put up in the video description. So, because I know a lot of this stuff, that what I'm saying might be very new. Some of you might know this stuff already, or may have heard a little bit of this, that, and the other. Now, remember, look, I'm no financial expert, but, you know, I keep my eyes open, as you know. Hogarth's Global Astrology, I'm always looking for all of the stories, particularly on business and politics and all of this kind of stuff. Anyway, what is tokenization about? The basic concept is this. Assets, goods, and services, like I was talking, yeah, Taurus, will essentially become digitized or tokenized. Yeah, we're probably going to see this, like I said, when Uranus moves into sidereal Taurus in June next year, 2024. And the idea is this. What can be tokenized can be any asset, but let's use, it's going to be cars and houses and stuff like that. So the whole idea is this. Now, this is based on what I've seen other people explain it about. Remember, I'm not a financial expert, but to give you the, you know, the broad wherewithal. So imagine this sheet is a ledger, yeah, which will be held by the government with the digital currencies and all that kind of stuff. On that ledger, you can have certain assets. So you can have a house, yeah, you can have a house, you can have a car, yeah, driving, yeah, something like that, or whatever it is. Now, what happens is it is tokenized. You have the physical entity and then the digital token version of it. What it means is that in the future, if this goes ahead, and there's no guarantee, but if this goes ahead, it means you can buy there will be tokenized houses all over the place. So when you want to buy a new house, the house that you want is on the ledger and the seller is on the ledger. You buy it off them and the transaction becomes instantaneous. You can buy a house like that because what the two of you will have is what is called a digital contract, which is linked. Yeah, linked. So the Bitcoin, because remember, Bitcoin and everything is all traceable. That's what that whole blockchain stuff is all about. We also know that it's programmable as well. Yeah. So the transaction will happen on the ledger. It will be instantaneous. So you buy a house in Mexico or wherever it is, you pay the monies up to the ledger. The bank can obviously trace, or the government can trace it, and they can make that interaction happen. Or it could be likewise for a car as well. You buy a car on the ledger and you instantly get that, but then, you know, all sorts. So on one level, there will be exceptional convenience will be offered. Yeah, exceptional convenience. But of course, it means everything is absolutely monitored as well, and there's no middlemen. Yeah. And of course, what's on the ledger, you know, how do you buy things with different currencies or cash or whatever? How does that work? We will have to see how that goes, but I just thought I would explain that basic concept. So that is coming down the track as well. And of course, it would make sense with Uranus going into Taurus. assets of all kinds becoming what? Digitized. Yeah, I've said that ad nauseum. What else? Oh, just so you know as well, Russia, Mr. Putinshka, allegedly in July, signed off on a digital ruble to get around what? The sanctions. Let's not forget as well, I said there'll be financial news. Remember BRICS, yeah, which is Brazil, Russia, India, China, and South Africa. Remember, they've got new additions. I've spoken about this, but it's worth repeating again, where you now have Argentina. Who is it? It was Argentina, Ethiopia, Egypt, UAE, Iran, and Saudi Arabia. Yeah, are going to join when? January 2024. Do you see how this is all? Ooh, yeah, getting very, very interesting. So there's that. So let's talk about solutions, and let's also see what else other people are saying in the chat. So I'm going to talk solutions, how we can deal with this, and then let's pull some cards and look at some of the politics and stuff like that. So let's see here. So I hope you're finding that interesting. I know it might be a bit discombobulating or disconcerting, but it really is coming down the track. I do. And let's just see here. Ah, thank you. Thank you so much. Oh, why is that not clicking up? Sarita, thank you for your donation. Love your astrology and the fact that you're one of the few astrologers who has. Oh, well, indeed. He is such a controversial character. Some people unsubscribe, you know, when they see certain things. It's a little bit sad, actually. I think it's a little bit of a shame. But anyway, I won't even go there. Big change coming. Let's see here. What's someone saying here? Born and raised in San Francisco Bay Area, still love it. Even getting priced out of paradise. Oh, bless you, Betty. We don't want you priced out of paradise. What's this? See here. Let's just see here. I've been having dreams. Oh, someone's saying here. Let's read this. Oh, there's over 400 of you now. I've been having dreams where I and friends are being driven in a self-driving Bentley, very luxurious, but sometimes it gets in fender bend. Well, I mean, a Bentley is certainly nice. I wouldn't turn that down. Yeah, I wouldn't turn that down at all. Let's just see here. Who's so Foggy Oscock says hello, Hogarth Global Astrology. No, I'm late. Oh, it doesn't matter about being late. It was Michael Flynn in the Georgia indictments. Oh well, next time. Regarding Michael Flynn, I'm not quite sure what you mean by that, Fozzie, but I guess obviously he's got some kind of stuff that's going on. And then, well, that's a bit too much on the nose. 2016. Oh, you must be talking about with the Rahu kind of stuff. Yeah, I mean, it's all energy, folks. Let's see who else here. All right, let's start talking about the GOP. Oh, thank you, Ozzy. Thank you so much. Now, let me know in the comments, but what I heard, correct me if I'm wrong, what I heard is that allegedly the GOP are saying they're not going to negotiate in terms of things like with the debt ceiling and stuff like that and what have you. And they're going to kick up a big old stink unless Biden is impeached. Is that correct? Or have I heard BS from somewhere? Please let me know in the comments. Have the GOP made such threats? Because I want to check before I read on it. Because if they have, the date of that I'm also going to share could be very significant. Ah, thank you, Jupiter's Tarot. That's so kind for that donation. So let me just see here. Oh, right. Okay. Someone's saying here, CC Ryder, I would love to see a chart on the GOP. There are 2 dates of origin. I've already done one. I've already done the GOP. They've got a wacky chart. They've got a crazy chart. Is it available to the public? I'm not sure. Maybe my membership might have that one, but I have done the GOP chart and I've done the Democrats as well. In fact, it might actually be in my playlist somewhere. I actually compared the two. It might be like Democrats and Republican comparison deep dive chart. Maybe look up that in my back catalogue there, but I have done them. Yeah, I've have done them. So let me scroll down in the chat to see if anyone said, now, is this correct? Yeah, is this correct where the GOP are threatening to play fast and loose with the budget unless they get to impeach Biden? Is that correct? Please let me know in the comments. Let me have a look here. What are people saying? Power goes. Oh, someone made, CC Ryder made a good point. She said, all of this shizzle can be hacked. Crash the global economy and sticking to cash and platforms that I trust. That's a very good point. Imagine if your digital identity gets stolen. Then what? They get the whole thing. Your house, your car, your dog, you know, everything. Let's see here. I'm just waiting to see. Oh, someone's saying Bitcoin and other cryptocurrencies speeded up the creation of government digital currencies as crypto isn't backed by anything. Right, indeed. So that was the Petri dish. Yeah, that's where the governments, I think, were having a look to see if it would fly. And then what they do is they come in and they regulate and be like, right, we'll have this now. You know, obviously crypto, of course, has its perks, but I've always had reservation. But innovation, you know, Uranus is not going to stop moving, not going to stop bringing us change, you know, because we don't like it, you know, unfortunately. I was a cashier. Oh, someone says here, I was a cashier when you punched the buttons and pulled the handle, counted the change in your head. Yeah, yeah, I used to do that once upon a time. Oh, someone's saying here, Rebecca's saying, my aunt still writes the checks in the grocery. She doesn't understand the world of the internet, paying bills online, autops. It is very hard to watch her get angry about it all. Yeah, I mean, you can imagine, you know, imagine if you know, it's, unless you're part of it, life is going to be almost impossible, which I think is part of the point. Let's see here. Oh, good question. Jikanda says, and they punish you if you don't do whatever they say. We shall have to see. Yeah, a good example is China. They've got full digitized kind of stuff, and it's all connected with social credit scores, and that's where they get these ideas from that regime, not the people, the regime. Yeah. So I remember there was a story coming out of China where there was this mortgage scandal. And they try it because, you know, China's having huge problems with the economy and the, you know, the weather and the real estate. Anyway, they got defrauded out of, and the banks basically stole their money. So they wanted to go to the banks to protest. And the banks then called the government and said, we want to stop these people. So what they did was they blocked them. They travel banned them via their phones. Yeah, because you've got to scan and everything is all digital. So they blocked them. Blocked them from public transport so they couldn't go and protest. Yeah. And now, you know, now we see what's coming in the pipeline. I leave it to your imagination. Yeah. Because there's certain guidelines on here. There's certain stuff even on here I can't say. So I just let you join the dots on that one, folks. I'm just giving you the heads up. Don't shoot the messenger. Here was it now. Where is it? Can anyone verify? All right. Is that a yes? All right. So basically people are saying yes. So the GOP are yes. Right. So people are saying that is correct. And thank you. Right. We're going to need to pull some cards. Oh my God, the hour's gone almost. Oh, Jesus. Oh, there's not enough time to discuss these things. I might have to give, because I want to do a read. Yeah. So as you guys know, this was a prediction video from November after the midterms. And I said, if the GOP get any kind of toehold in the House, I said they are going to hold the economy to ransom. Now, we saw what the hoo-ha that they did with the last debt ceiling and all that BS. Yeah. and all of that stuff. And now, yeah, so Marjorie Taylor Greene, and so it's true. Yeah, so they're saying that, oh God, these people are so despicable. Let me give you some solutions, though. It's not all bad. Let me give you some solutions. One of the things I would suggest, if you can afford it, if you're able to, invest in some physical gold. Oh, someone's saying MTG is, but I'll put on that. Yeah, and then more of saying that that's correct. So if you can, have some physical gold. Now, what they say is, why in weddings, why would you give gold? And at certain occasions, that's what they do in countries, because gold is said to preserve one's wealth. So whatever you have, it protects it. You know, they say gold and silver is God's money, yes, sun and the moon. You know, take of that what you will. So there's that. One of my friends, Sarah, where she lives, she's just joined a local organic farming collective. So they all get together and they all share and do the work on the allotments, this, that, and the other, and they get wonderful produce, wonderful produce. They even have their own well. I mean, yeah, their own well where they can get pure water that's unadulterated by anything, and all organic composting and all of this kind of stuff. Amazing stuff. So Google and have a look to see if you've got things like that in your area and support them if you can. Either order their food or go and visit and stuff like that, because things like collective farming and people are going to start pushing back against this stuff. A lot of people are not going to want to be part of the system. Yeah, makes sense. Yeah. So wherever you can develop and encourage alternatives, shall we say, without me going too far. You never know, I could end up, you know, getting censored. What else did I put here as well? Oh, I was looking at and things like organic seeds as well. Just, you know, saving, of course, what you can without panicking, anything like that. But having different things in different accounts, that's another one as well. Yeah, that's another one, what I would say as well. Spread your risk. Let's put it that way. Spread your risk. Don't live in fear or panic, but just know that this stuff is coming down the pike. So when you see it on the news, you're not going to freak out. You're going to be like, oh God, I remember Hogarth talking about this. Yeah. So there's that. So let's look at, let's pull these cards on the GOP, yeah, and their tactics, what they intend to do. Did you see the live cases as well? I was watching, I think I was watching Midas Touch, and they were talking about Chesbro, and how him wanting an earlier trial has backfired. Oh, and you remember, I've said it before ad nauseum. I said things for Trump will get worse, even worse than they are now, on the 22nd of October 2023. You'll remember me mentioning that. I've got videos on that. If you look at my Trump and Melania video about their marriage, so if you put in Melania and Donald or Trump or whatever, but if you write in Melania, it will come up. And I said this was back in November 2021. I think it was November 2021, yeah, where I said this is where things could really start. And Chesbro's, and I think it's the Cray Kraken, what's her face, Sidney Powell, they're going to be having their trial date. It seems to be ratified, doesn't seem like it's going to be changing now, on when? The 23rd of October 2022. So literally just when the energy is manifesting. Incredible. So imagine what's going to come out of their cases. Yeah, that's not going to look so great, is it? So it's going to put more pressure on Duck Larange. Anyway, back to the GOP. Got the cards here. Oh, I'm going to go till 10 past. I'll go to 10 past anyway. Or maybe slightly less. GOP. What effect will them effectively holding the USA ransom to impeach Biden, what effect will that have? Yeah. What's the energy around that? God, these people. As if America doesn't have enough on its plate already. Let's have a little look. Bloody hell. Ugh, here we go. All right. We look here. Here we have, and again, this is the Golden Art Nouveau deck that I've got here. GOP, situation, all of this kind of stuff. They're saying they're going to try and impeach Biden. They may have to row back on this. Yeah, we'll have to see. We'll have to see. I mean, isn't it absurd that we're even having this conversation? That this is even a thing? Anyway, never mind. So they may have to row back on this, but they're going to try. Yeah, they're trying to take the conversation in a different direction because, of course, Duck L'Orange, yeah, is also in a pickle. Look at the obstacle card, rushing forward hastily. Yeah, here. So this was the Six of Swords. This here is the Knight of Swords, which can deal with what? Rushing in, anger, aggression, violence. It's in the obstacle position. So this can mean spitefulness, impulsiveness. Yeah, you know, literally, you can see here they are, gung-ho. This is the GOP. This really card, this really, especially Marjorie Taylor Greene. Like I said, she thinks she's Miley Cyrus. Yeah, with her wrecking ball, you know, whatever. Miley Cyrus is a very talented woman and is, you know, whatever. But I'm just saying, in MTG's mindset, she sees herself as this, you know, whatever, and she's not. Anyway, what will it affect? Look, yes, it could potentially here. They're going to try and shut down the government. Here, this is the GOP trying to have the power over the coins and making everyone beg. Yeah, pretty much. That's what they're aiming to do. If we look at this from the perspective of the administration or Biden, they obviously want to keep the money going. So this has happened in the middle. So we can see, yes, it may have some effect. It could have a big effect on America's reputation, credit rating, because think of all of this cray-cray. It makes the country more unstable. Yeah. Here, the GOP are going to try every single trick in the book. Look, the magician, this is Marjorie Taylor Greene and all of her cabal. Yeah. Literally, they're going to try every single trick in the book to affect financial kind of repercussions if they don't get what they want. Yeah, because they want to, what? Charge ahead. They want to impeach. Oh, my God. Look, who's the money behind this? So again, this can talk about the GOP as well, but this is also about stability, legacies, and stuff like that. This could also represent the government. So I'm going to have to pull some clarifiers here. Let's get 3 clarifiers, and then I'm going to have to call it a day. Oh, the time has gone so quick. Look at that. Yeah. Okay, let's pull 3 clarifiers on this thing to see, does the government manage to stand? Or do they succeed in their BS? Let's have a look. God, these people are so dreadful. And I thought of a name of Ramaswamy, and I think someone made a suggestion. I tweaked it a bit. So I think I'll be calling him Ravi Magaswampy, something like that. Anyway, oh, gosh. Oh, I don't like these cards. Look at that. It's bloody 4 of Swords. All right. I'll be quick with this. Lots of argy-bargy, as Lena would say. Yeah, lots of backwards and forwards. They're going to be causing chaos. There needs to be some kind of legal decision come about here as to basically, is it raising the debt ceiling, talking about, you know, Biden and what have, and all the hoopla and cra that they've got going on. Yeah. So there's some kind of legal matter here, but look, 4 of Swords, being wounded in battle, but who will be wounded in battle? Is it the GOP? Finally, they get put to bed on this, or do they put the economy and do they succeed in shutting down the government? We will have to see. It is not a foregone conclusion, of course. So again, keep that vibration as high as you can. Try and stay positive. Thoughts with the energy, but also as well, do those little things for yourself, like I suggested. Buy a little bit of gold if you can. It's always good. It really does help protect one's finances and stuff. And you don't need much. You don't need much. I've got a few little coins here and there. I might buy a little bit more, and that's just to, you know, just to keep things stable. And it has the energy of the sun. This digital stuff is coming down the pipeline, but does it mean it will all get implemented? We have to see. We have to see. Not every country is going to follow this, by the way. There are many countries that already declared that they don't want anything to do with central bank digital currencies. But can we all move to those countries? If, you know, there's so many things. It's coming down the pike, but there's still too much that is unknown at this moment. We'll have to see how it develops. But as I was predicting with the astrology, as you saw, I said, look, there'll be things to do with finances, money, digital currencies, rules, regulations, etc. So we will have to see. I have to leave it there. I could carry on, but otherwise this video will get too long. Thank you, everyone, for joining me. I hope you found that interesting. I know it might be a bit of a mixed bag, but this is real. This is real. Let me know your thoughts in the comments. Please don't forget to like and subscribe as well. That really helps the channel grow. And thank you to all the donations. Thursday fry up tomorrow, so maybe we can look at this a bit more. Maybe you guys might have some more questions and I might deal with some of those along with all the other stuff that's going on. So I will have to leave it there. Thank you so much, everyone. I hope you found that interesting. Might be a little bit like, ooh, but it's my job to tell you what's coming. And we will take it from there. At least you've been forewarned. So much love, everyone. And I will see you guys soon. I'll see you tomorrow for Thursday Fry Up. Right. Much love. Bye-bye for now.